Hi guys, I just wanted to make a quick video for you on understanding distance time and speed time graphs. So I'll start with the distance time graph. Okay, I don't have any units or numbers on my axes because they're not important when explaining kind of the features of the graph. So there are a number of different types of lines that you're going to see on distance time graphs. So I'll draw some examples and then just explain what each of them means. So I'll draw one straight line here. I'll draw a horizontal line. I'm going to draw another straight line, but this one's going to be steeper than the last one. And then I'm going to draw another flat line. Okay, so on distance time graphs, the fact that the line is straight means that the object is moving at a constant speed. So I'll write that just as a note here. Straight lines equal constant speed. Okay, now what that means is this line here shows an object that's moving at a constant speed. So if you imagine between this time, I'll call it t0, and this time, I'll just call it t1, this object moves a certain distance. So it's a moving object. So if I was to try to describe what this line shows, it shows an object moving at a constant speed. Okay, so any straight line that's not horizontal on a distance time graph shows an object moving at a constant speed. This line is horizontal. Okay, now horizontal lines mean that the object is not changing its distance. Okay, so this distance here is not changing for this object between, I'm going to call it this one T2. Okay, so between T1 and T2, this object doesn't change its distance. So this object is stationary. Or they like saying at a standstill. That means it's not moving. Okay, so if you want to draw a line for an object that's stationary, you do a horizontal line. This third line here, this is also showing an object that's moving at a constant speed because it's straight. But this line is steeper than this line. Lines that are steeper show objects moving at higher speeds. Okay, so I'm going to write this line is an object moving at and I'm going to put it in a bracket, higher constant speed. I'm going to write here steeper lines equal higher speed. And then the object, when it gets to here, and I'm going to call that T3, when it gets to T3, you've got a horizontal line again. So what do you think that means? Hopefully, what you said or thought was that this object is now stationary. So that's really all you need to know about distance time graphs. Lines that aren't horizontal but are straight, so kind of inclines, show objects that are moving at a constant speed. Lines that are horizontal show objects that are stationary, and then how steep the line is shows you how fast the object is moving. Steeper lines mean a higher speed. Okay, now I'm going to show you a similar graph for speed time speed time graphs. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to draw a few example lines. I'm going to draw a horizontal line here. I'm going to draw an incline, which is straight. I'm going to draw another horizontal line. I'm actually going to draw another incline, which is steeper this time. I'll draw another horizontal line. And then I'm going to go back down to my x-axis like that. Okay. So this is a speed time graph. Speed time graphs are slightly different to distance time graphs, but they've got kind of similar characteristics. Okay, so the things that are important again are, is it a straight line, and how steep the line is. But they mean something slightly different in this graph. Okay, so on a speed time graph, a straight line shows an object that is accelerating at a constant rate. Okay, so, well, let's have a think about what this graph is showing. So this section here, I'm going to call these times again, just like last time, call that T0. I'm going to call this T1. Okay, so here, this object is moving at a constant speed. Okay, that's because it's horizontal. So if you look at the speed of this object, it's here, it's above 0, and it's not changing between T0 and T1. So this is an object moving at a constant speed. Then when it gets to T1, the speed starts to change. So at T1, the speed is here, but at T2, the speed is up here. So this object has accelerated. Between T1 and T2, the object is accelerating at a constant rate. That constant rate bit is important because it links it to this fact, the fact that it's a straight line. Okay, then between T2, which is here, and I'll call it T3, the object is again showing a horizontal line. The horizontal line means that the object is moving at a constant speed, but if you look at where that speed is, it's higher than the speed before. So this is another example of the object moving at a constant speed. But this one is higher. Then we get to T3 and we get another incline, but this incline is steeper than the last incline, if you notice there. And how steep the line is, okay, is equal. So a steeper line is a higher rate of acceleration. Now, what does the rate of acceleration mean? It means how quickly something speeds up. Okay, so if you imagine the acceleration of a, I've got a Ford Focus, my Ford Focus 1.8 litre engine, it might look like that. But if you compare it to the acceleration of a Ferrari accelerates quicker. It speeds up quicker. So the Ferrari might look like this. So the steeper line shows a higher rate of acceleration. So I'm going to write that in here. object is accelerating at a higher constant rate. And that's between T3 and T4. I'm going to ignore T4 to T5 because hopefully you know that that is just the object moving at another higher speed. But T5 down to T6 shows a completely different line this time. Now this line is going down. Now hopefully you can see that it starts at a high speed, which is up here, and then it ends at a speed of 0. So this object, it is technically accelerating, but we have a different word for accelerating when it means slowing down. This is an object decelerating. So object is decelerating to a standstill. Now, it's decelerating because the speed's going down, but it is also a straight line. So that means that the deceleration is at a constant rate. Okay, anyway, I hope that video is useful and it kind of makes the task that I've set you a little bit easier, because what I want you to do is sketch some graphs that look a little bit like my one. Okay, and I've described the journeys that I would like you guys to sketch on your graphs. Just like my graph, you don't need to have any numbers on your axes. It's more about where the lines are, how steep they are they horizontal or are they inclines? That's what's most important. Okay, and have a good weekend.